The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness nor food, which are not convenient, but rather giving up thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. For a while now, I have been talking to people about, how the sky is looking and the very strange cloud structures that are there. And I started feeling like the creepy cloud guy, because I kept talking about the clouds, and everybody was like, who's this, your kids don't tell you right away. They'd be like, Daddy kind of creepy with this cloud thing. So in the process of, stop being the creepy cloud guy, I decided I would, go into the book and look into some things, and then it actually kind of reveals some other things in the process of dealing with the creepy clouds. So let's begin today's sermon in Ezekiel chapter 30. And the title of today's sermon is Signs in the Sun. Subtitle would be the creepy clouds. All right. All right, Ezekiel chapter 30. And if anybody have, watched clouds when they were little, they know that these are not normal clouds that are here. I ended up having a conversation with some people right, as we were leaving out the door. I said, okay, it's about to be 4th of July. the cloud, the sky is going to be completely clear because everybody is going to be staring at the sky. Sky was completely clear, no clouds whatsoever. 4th of July, everybody got ready to do their fireworks. 2 days later, after everybody's got through, the creepy cloud showed right back up. Now, I found that absolutely interesting when you understand that they are spraying things. I ended up taking a picture, and this was the most chemtrails in one area I had ever seen. It had to be about 6 or 7 crisscross zigzag patterns of them spraying, but you got to get up early in the morning to see it. Those thin lines of spray end up turning into this blanket cloud that covers everything. But you got to be up early enough to see these crisscross patterns. And within the time that I recorded it, I'm talking 3 minutes later, 3 to 5 minutes later, it was covered up and you couldn't see any of it. Had I not recorded it, you know, it would not be even known that any of that was happening, that it was a purposely done thing to spray all of these things in the air in certain areas. So when they say that certain areas of people are getting sick, we have to wonder what's in that stuff that you're spraying in the clouds. That certain people would be getting sick more, because all they'll tell you, they won't say necessarily the area, they'll tell you the ethnicity of the people. But the ethnicity of those people are concentrated normally in certain areas. So if you want a certain type of people to be sick, then you spray more in a certain area. Ezekiel chapter 30, and let's start that at verse 1.
The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus says the Adonai Yah, howl you, woe worth the day. For the day is near, even the day of Yahweh is near, a cloudy day. It shall be the time of the heathen.
It shall be the time of the heathen. Go ahead.
Verse 14, or continue.
No, keep going.
And the sword shall come upon Egypt, and great pain shall be in Ethiopia, when the slain shall fall in Egypt, and they shall take away her multitude, and her foundation shall be broken down. Ethiopia and Libya and Lydia, and all the mingled people, and Chub, and the men of the land that is in league, shall fall with them by the sword. Now,
one of the things that you'll have to pay attention to, that every time you start talking about Egypt and the punishment of Egypt, do you also notice that it automatically mentions Ethiopia? See, Egypt was all of that area. You have Upper and Lower Egypt. The Ethiopians are part of that Egyptian empire. So when you deal with that, there's a reason why you keep seeing Ethiopia. He's not just mentioning Ethiopia just because of it. Think about it. When Moshe was in Egypt, what was the sister upset with him about? Because he had married a what? Ethiopian woman. Egypt. See, a lot of times we don't make those correlations. You got to put those two things together. Same people. Go ahead.
Thus says Yahweh, they also that uphold Egypt shall fall, and the pride of her power shall come down. From the tower of Sinai shall they fall in it by the sword, says the Adonai Yah. And they shall be desolate in the midst of the countries that are desolate, and her cities shall be in the midst of the cities that are wasted. And they shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have set a fire in Egypt, and when all her helpers shall be destroyed. In that day shall her messengers go forth from me in ships to make the careless Ethiopians afraid, and great pain shall come upon them, as in the day of Egypt, for, lo, it comes.
Right, and if you don't consider that Ethiopia and Egypt are one and the same, a lot of this will throw you off. Because in one part of the sentence he says Egypt, and the next part he says Ethiopia. And all you have to do is look at the pictures of the pharaohs. Put that hat on top of an Ethiopian. Go ahead.
Thus says the Adonai Yah, I will also make the multitude of Egypt to cease by the hand of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon. He and his people with him, the terrible of the nations, shall be brought to destroy the land, and they shall draw their swords against Egypt, and fill the land with the slain. And I'll make the rivers dry, and sell the land into the hand of the wicked. And I'll make the land waste, and all that is therein, by the hand of strangers. I, Yahweh, have spoken it.
You know, one of the things that we have to deal with is understanding the sons of Noah and the rulership that was given. It only makes sense that the Ethiopians would be part of that rule because they are of the sons of Ham. Hamites rule first. See, we end up allowing people to separate things according to color. I don't mean nothing to Yahweh. Yahweh is separating things according to families, not color. So just because somebody looks the same shade of somebody else, that means nothing. They are Hamites. They got their rulership along with the rest of their brethren, the Hamites. So just like when the Gentiles get their rulership, as the Gentiles are ruling, what do you see? Other Gentiles all over the earth are in power. So when Shem gets their chance to rule, other Shemites are then going to be in power all over the earth. That's the way that works. You share power with your brethren. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Thus says the Adonai Yah, I will also destroy the idols, and will cause their images to cease out of Noph. And there shall be no more a prince of the land of Egypt, and I'll put a fear in the land of Egypt. And I'll make Pathros desolate, and will set fire in Zoan, and will execute judgments in No. And I'll pour my fury upon Sin, the strength of Egypt, and I'll cut off the multitude of No. And I'll set fire in Egypt. Sin shall have great pain, and No shall be rent asunder, and Noph shall have his distresses daily, The young men of Avon and of Beseth shall fall by the sword, and these cities shall go into captivity. At Taphanes also the day shall be darkened, when I shall break there the yokes of Egypt, and the pomp of her strength shall cease in her. As for her, a cloud shall cover her, and her daughters shall go into captivity.
Right. At Taphanes also the day shall be darkened. So you're going to see that there's so many things going back and forth between how Yahweh is dealing with the light and darkness when it comes down to judgment. Go ahead.
Thus will I execute judgments in Egypt, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. And it came to pass in the 11th year, in the first month, in the 7th day of the month, that the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have broken the arm of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and, lo, it shall not be bound up to be healed, to put a roller to bend it, to make it strong to hold the sword. Therefore thus says the Adonai Yah, Behold, I am against Pharaoh king of Egypt, and will break his arms, the strong, and that which was broken, and I'll cause the sword to fall out of his hand. And I'll scatter the Egyptians among the nations, and will disperse them through the countries.
Right. So when people get ready to look in Egypt and they see a certain type of people, do understand those are not the Egyptians that Yahweh is talking about. Go ahead.
And I'll strengthen the arms of the king of Babylon, and put my sword in his hand. But I'll break Pharaoh's arms, and he shall groan before him with the groanings of a deadly wounded man. But I'll strengthen the arms of the king of Babylon, and the arms of Pharaoh shall fall down, and they shall know that I am Yahweh, when I shall put my sword into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall stretch it out upon the land of Egypt.
Right. So as Yahweh is causing the end of one family's rule to then begin the rule of another family. So then you have transference of power from the Hamites to then the sons of Japhet. And then the sons of Japhet will hold power until it's time for the sons of Shem. So this is what makes the statement that people will throw out so absolutely ridiculous. Anytime somebody says something against the Jewish, they then claim anti-Semitism, which means anti-Shemitic. Shem ain't supposed to be ruling yet. Well, how you there? How you there? Each family gets their opportunity. How you already in power? But see, the people who they scare with that statement. The football player got on his little Instagram or whatever it was and said, black people are the true Israelites. Boy, the Jewish owners of the team make sure they put him in place. They invited him to come to an Auschwitz death camp. What the hell that mean? I invite you to come to the projects. But he got to back down. This way he getting his check. So you, and then instead of dealing with how are you in power yet? Because this power follows families. You are then telling me that Yahweh's prophecy is wrong. Go ahead.
You know, it's interesting with them and this anti-Semitism. If something's done to one of us and we say it's because we're black. Oh, you playing the race card.
Yep.
But they play this anti-Semitic card over and over and over, and nobody says, oh, you playing the race card.
Brother, you pull into a parking spot before a Jewish man and you anti-Semitic. Was this an ethnic parking spot? I didn't. Did this parking spot have a yarmulke on it? What happened? That is their ultimate thing. Before anything, you anti this. And they had to develop something that was separate from racism. Because that's exactly what anti-Semitic is supposed to be. It's supposed to be racism, but you can't be racist with everybody else. It's a special kind of racism that they've created for themselves. Go ahead.
You know, even with the whole thing of anti-Semitic, it's the sons of Shem.
Right.
So y'all are claiming to be Jews, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which would be just one tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So if we decide that we're Israelites, there still would be 11 other tribes. So how am I being anti-Semitic if I'm claiming to be one of the other 11 that's left?
But the people who they scare with that statement don't have the wherewithal or the opportunity to answer in the manner that you just did. See, they scare them with simply the statement. If you Jew, that leaves 11 others. But you know what's happening? All the European people who put them in power are claiming, no, we the other 11. All right, so we ain't gonna have no more talk about no lost tribes of Israel. So you can just forget that. We right here. Okay, go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 30 and verse 26. And I'll scatter the Egyptians among the nations and disperse them among the countries, and they shall know that I am Yahweh.
All right, let's go to chapter 32. Ezekiel 32, and let's start that at verse 1.
And it came to pass in the 12th year, in the 12th month, in the first day of the month, that the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and say unto him, You are like a young lion of the nations, and you are as a whale in the seas. And you came forth with your rivers, and troubleth the waters with your feet, and fouled their rivers. Thus says the Adonai Yah, I will therefore spread out my net over you with a company of many people, and they shall bring you up in my net. Then will I leave you upon the land. I will cast you forth upon the open field, and will cause all the fowls of the heaven to remain upon you, and I'll fill the beast of the whole earth with you. And I'll lay the flesh upon the mountains. And I will lay your flesh, upon the mountains, and fill the valleys with your height. I will also water with your blood the land wherein you swimmeth, even to the mountains, and the rivers shall be full of you. And when I shall put you out, I will cover the heaven, and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud.
Now see, then I stopped feeling like the creepy cloud guy. Because I said, wait a minute now. There's some scriptural basis behind what's happening here. See, this is what happens when you start feeling creepy. Get in the scripture and figure out why you feeling all creepy. See, this right here, Yahweh does the same things over and over. So when you see something, and when I started looking at these clouds, man, it's getting extremely hot. One of these creepy clouds come over, and all of a sudden you can feel the temperature change. All these things have a purpose. He says, I will cover the sun with the cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. I started telling people, let's play a game called Find the Sun. How many days you end up going where you can't even find where the sun is? You know it's daylight, but where's the sun? There's something seriously wrong with that. Go ahead.
All the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over you, and set darkness upon your land, says the Adonai Yah. I will also vex the hearts of many people, when I shall bring your destruction among the nations, into the countries which you have not known. Yes, I will make many people amazed at you, and their kings shall be horribly afraid for you, when I shall brandish my sword before them, and they shall tremble at every moment, every man for his own life, in the day of your fall. For thus says the Adonai Elohim, the sword of the king of Babylon shall come upon you. By the swords of the mighty will I cause your multitude to fall, the terrible of the nations, all of them, and they shall spoil the pomp of Egypt, and all the multitude thereof shall be destroyed.
And when you go into these history books, you find that the Euro-Gentiles came in, invaded in what they call the Middle East, and it's been a constant war in certain areas, but in other areas they took over. They put figureheads in to so-called rule those countries, but those countries are being directed by America and Great Britain. Europeans are running those countries. They keep talking Africa this, Africa that. Look at how many of them they got in their back pocket. You find the ruler has a whole lot of money, all the people poor. That's a figurehead for the Western nations. And we see it time and time again. Bin Laden was a friend to the West. Saddam was a friend to the West. As soon as they make the wrong move, there's a convenient war that is made to remove them from power and put somebody else in. So they're still in control. Don't think about what the person looked like. It's being ran by the same individuals. After 9/11, Bin Laden family in the air. Can't none of us get nowhere near a plane. But we're born here. We got ID. How all these people get a special plane to get up out of here? Who they know? Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 32 and verse 13. I will destroy also all the beasts thereof from beside the great waters, neither shall the foot of man trouble them any more, for the hoofs of beasts trouble them, nor the hoofs of beasts trouble them. Then will I make their waters deep, and cause their rivers to run like oil, says the Adonai Yah. When I shall make the land of Egypt desolate, and the country shall be destitute of that whereof it was full, when I shall smite all of them that dwell therein, then shall they know that I am Yahweh. This is the lamentation wherewith they shall lament. This is the lamentation wherewith they shall lament her. The daughters of the nations shall lament her. They shall lament for her, even for Egypt and for all her multitude, says the Adonai Yah. It came to pass also in the 12th year, in the 15th day of the month, that the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, wail for the multitude of Egypt, and cast them down, even her, and the daughters of the famous nations, onto the nether parts of the earth, with them that go down into the pit. Whom does you pass in beauty? Go down, and be you laid with the uncircumcised. They shall fall in the midst of them that are slain by the sword. She's delivered to the sword. Draw her and all her multitudes. The strong among the mighty shall speak to him out of the midst of hell with them that help him. They are gone down, they lie uncircumcised, slain by the sword. Asher is there, and all her company. His graves are about him, all of them slain, fallen by the sword. Whose graves are set in the sides of the pit, and her company is round about her grave, all of them slain, fallen by the sword, which caused terror in the land of the living. There is Elam, and all her multitude round about her grave, all of them slain, fallen by the sword, which are gone down uncircumcised into the nether parts of the earth, which caused their terror in the land of the living. Yet have they borne their shame with them that go down to the pit. They have set her a bed in the midst of the slain with all her multitude. Her graves are round about him, all of them uncircumcised, slain by the sword. Though their terror was caused in the land of the living, yet have they borne their shame with them that go down to the pit. He is put in the midst of them that be slain. There is Meshach, Tubal, and all her multitude.
And when you deal with Meshach and you look this up, you're going to find that it says Moski, which is right in the area of Armenia. You'll find that this is Russian area. First of all, this is now Gentiles, the sons of Japheth, Meshach, Tubal, all of this. Go ahead.
Her graves are round about him, all of them uncircumcised, slain by the sword, though they caused their terror in the land of the living. And they shall not lie with the mighty that are fallen of the uncircumcised, which are gone down to hell with their weapons of war. And they have laid their swords under their heads, but their lawlessness shall be upon their bones, though they were the terror of the mighty in the land of the living. Yes, you shall be broken in the midst of the uncircumcised, and shall lie with them that are slain with the sword. There is Edom, her kings and all her princes, which with their might are laid by them that were slain by the sword. They shall lie with the uncircumcised, and with them that go down to the pit.
Right, Edom shall lie with the uncircumcised. And you have the same ones mingled in, pretending to be the children of Israel, yet they will lie with the uncircumcised. But just so we see that Yahweh does the same things, let's go to Exodus chapter 10. And do understand, Yahweh also likens this daughter of Babylon unto Egypt as well. She is mad upon the Egyptian idols. That same Washington Monument, that phallic symbol, is an Egyptian symbol of power. And the Euro Gentiles have taken that symbol of power and used it all over this country. If you watch some of the older movies, you'll find out that the bus stop was a phallic symbol. It used to have a little bus stop sitting right. Matter of fact, you used to lean your hand on it. You'd lean on it. You didn't know what you were doing. Go back. Look at those movies. It was just yay high, just long enough for you to lean on it. They got one in Morehouse, all in the middle of all of those things, right by the little area where the people do the graduation. You got phallic symbols all over there. This is a symbol of white power in a black, so-called black institution. Then you find out the black people don't own the institution. Now you understand why they got symbols of white power in it. But see, we keep arguing about a symbol of white power. You got a symbol of white power on top of the church. I don't see nobody arguing about that one. Take that steeple and that phallic symbol down. See, we want to take down the Confederate flags. We want to take down recall the stuff on Stone Mountain. Take that symbol of white power off the top of that church. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 10 and verse 13. And Moshe stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and Yahweh brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt, and rested in all the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such.
You'll find that in certain places it'll say he stays his rough wind in the day of the east wind. You find out that it was this east wind that brought those locusts in. So when you read past that or read that in another prophet, some of this right here ought to come to your mind. What are he talking about? He stays his rough wind in the day of the east wind. Yeah, he just didn't say, okay, locusts come and they showed up. No, he caused the east wind to blow. After a while, it brought those locusts. And when those locusts came, other natural disaster type things are now following, because all he got to do is put one thing in motion. It's like dominoes. The rest of the stuff is going to take care of itself. Go ahead.
For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruit trees which the hail had left.
So he's bringing darkness, not by automatically dealing with the sun. This is so many locusts that it covers the sun. The sun can't even get to you. Go ahead.
And there remained not any green thing in the trees, or in the herbs of the field, through all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moshe and Aaron in haste, and he said, I have sinned against Yahweh your Elohim, and against you. Now therefore, forgive, I pray you, my sin only this once, and entreat Yahweh your Elohim, that he may take away from me this death only.
Now, this is a process of breaking Pharaoh down, because he believes that he is a man God. But now he's got to ask the slave to pray to his God. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is to him? He's a man God. He's a God. He's a God in the flesh. His people worship him. Yet Yahweh is dealing with him in the presence of all those people, and then he got to ask the slave. Tell the God of the slaves to take these locusts away. But you man God, why don't you tell him to leave? So this is a very, very humiliating situation for him. Go ahead.
And he went out from Pharaoh and entreated Yahweh. And Yahweh turned a mighty strong west wind, which took away the locusts and cast them into the Red Sea.
Right. There's something that causes something. It's not just a situation where Yahweh blinks and something happens. So this is something that we have to pay attention to. Go ahead.
There remained not one locust in all the coast of Egypt. But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go.
He's not going to make it easy for Pharaoh, because a lot of times people don't repent because they want to do right. People repent because they want to get away from the punishment that has now come upon them. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moshe stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days.
Thick darkness. It says darkness which may be felt. How you feel dark? You know how dark it got to be for you to feel dark? So what is that? I just feel that darkness. What is that? That's deep right there. And how are we going to react to something like that? Go ahead.
They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days.
Now, this is darkness. When you can't see the person right in front of you, it ain't but a couple times that I've seen that kind of dark. It has to be absolutely no lights in the sky, no lights anywhere around you for it to be so dark that you know somebody there, but you can't see them. This is the kind of stuff when they put people in solitary confinement in jail for too long that make those people turn mentally. This is what they do to try to break them. Go ahead.
But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moshe and said,
You know how that's got to tick you off. Let me tell you something, man. There's a neighborhood behind us. They got those underground utilities. And every time something happens, our lights go out. I look out the window and see them. We be like, man, I wonder what they watching on TV over there. Cause we pitch black dark over here. But I can see that other neighborhood over there. They lights on. They enjoying themselves. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh called unto Moshe and said, Go you, serve Yahweh. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your little ones also go with you. And Moshe said, You must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto Yahweh our Elohim.
Yeah, you must give us this. See, our people are afraid to ask the daughter of Babylon for some stuff. Oh, no, they owe us. Now, you must give us some things for us to sacrifice. You know all that free stuff we done did up in here? Yeah, I need to get that, and I need to get it from you. Go ahead.
Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not an hoof be left behind. For thereof must we take to serve the Adonai Yahweh, our Elohim. And we know not with what we must serve Yahweh until we come thither. But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said unto him, Get you from me, take heed to yourself, see my face no more. For in that day you seeth my face, you shall die. And Moshe said, You have spoken well, I will see your face again no more.
Right. Sometimes people call their own judgment against themselves, thinking that they are calling judgment against you. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 13. You know, when the Jewish individual said he wanted to invite that player to the Auschwitz camp, and he wanted to ask him all those things, if he had said, hey, prove your slavery. Oh man, they would have been extremely hot with him. But it's a perceived thing as far as they're trying to say that they were the ones that were enslaved in Egypt. Here's the problem. Yahweh later on in this book keeps talking about a second exodus and freedom from slavery. So any Jewish person, if that's the only slavery that you're claiming, you can't be Israel. Where's your other one? And your other one? And your other one? Because how Yahweh deals with the children of Israel, he says, I'll give you my land and I'm going to give you my law. If you don't serve me in my land, you're going to serve enemies and serve their gods in their land. That was the punishment that's put on Israel. So Israel can't put forth a Auschwitz death camp and use that to prove that they're Israel. No, you have to prove captivity after captivity, because that's what's in the covenant. They want to make you believe that you will somehow keep dealing with the race card. No, I'm dealing with the covenant card. See, what's written on the covenant is that if you don't do this, I'm going to make you a servant in somebody else's land. So I'm just asking you, show me your servitude card. Because everywhere I go, you own everything. Everywhere I go, you in charge. I'm trying to find your serving card. When I go to the restaurants, we serving. When I go to the owner's box, you own it. Where is your serving card? Because that's what's written in the covenant. So that's not me asking or making these things. This is Yahweh that said this is what's going to happen to the children of Israel. So show me. Show me where you are in the book. Don't invite me to a death camp that took place because somebody tried to take over somebody else's economy and they got ticked off and started killing people. What does that mean? You run up in anybody's house and try to take it over? Then you gonna use the punishment that they put on you as a verification that you are some other people? Go ahead, bro.
It just goes to show the brother wasn't properly equipped.
No, he wasn't.
To stand up for the statement that he put out.
No, he was not.
And it also goes to show the importance of our congregational members of these Bible trivias that we do and these classes. Anyone that's been listening to us for 6 months to a year or more should be able to stand up in that fight and be well equipped to explain themselves in a political manner without becoming belligerent.
Right. But do understand now, they're going to come at you in a way to make you belligerent, because what happens is they need to discount what you say, knowing that you're going to have some scriptural references that they may not be able to handle. So it's going to automatically be presented to you to make you belligerent, so that way they can say, we don't need to, just disregard everything that they say. So that's another trick of the trade. Do understand, a lot of these police were trained by Israeli police. And what did they do after they choke you on the neck? Calm down now. Now you gasping for air, and they're telling you to calm down. You see how they transfer the negative energy onto the person who's being afflicted? Calm down. How the hell am I gonna calm down, man? I'm gasping for air. How do you calm down while gasping for air? Somebody show me that. And each time you see one of them police do something stupid, they sitting there telling the person, stop resisting. They twisting the dude's arm like it's a piece of rope. You know, that's bone. You can't keep twisting that without it breaking. They twisting the dude's arm and telling him at the same time while they're twisting it, calm down. Making it seem like he's the aggressor. Because he want to keep his arm bending in the right way. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 1. The burden of Babylon, which Esaias the son of Amoz did see. Lift you up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustered up the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl you, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travails. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh comes, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
Right, and you have prophet after prophet saying that there's going to be these magnificent events that are going to take place in the heaven, but because of our devices, we all looking down. You don't even see us look up no more. Everybody looking down at the phone. They didn't have to worry about clearing up the sky, but for 2 days, because they knew everybody was going to shoot off some fireworks. After that, we went right back to looking down. And knowing that those clouds got all kind of metallic things in it to make it rain, you should wonder, what would have happened had they shot some fireworks into it? We would have probably got a light show we would never forget. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And I'll punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their lawlessness. And I'll cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I'll make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger.
I will make, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And understand now, we have people being taught at their worship services, God ain't angry with you. Do you live on this earth? Because the earth itself is going to change how it even rotates. So when somebody say God ain't angry with you, where y'all come from? Where y'all live? Where y'all congregation at? Is it on earth? Because that's the only way you're going to be excluded from the anger of Yahweh. But you know, it's hard to preach that prosperity doctrine if you're going to say that Yahweh is angry and Yahweh wants to make some things be done in a certain order. It's hard to keep preaching that prosperity doctrine along with that, because this kind of stuff has a tendency to mess with your money. Did you finish that?
Verse 14. And it shall be as the chase roe, and as a sheep that no man takes up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land.
Right. And we know that that's going to be a really big thing when we're talking about the burden of Babylon, which is what this starts off dealing with. And we know the whole thing about Babylon is the whole ability to take over other lands and kingdoms. So it has no choice but to be a melting pot because it's all about conquering other lands. So as they go to go in other lands, they then have to allow some of those other people to come into theirs. So that's why you're going to see, especially in the daughter of Babylon, there is a humongous amount of mingled people in the midst of her because she got embassies all over the world. How you going to set up an embassy and a army base and then tell them people they can't come to your land? No, you have to open it up when you went in theirs. So that opens that door to more and more different ethnicities of people. Let's go to chapter 24. Isaiah chapter 24.
Says chapter 24 and verse 1. Behold, Yahweh makes the earth empty and makes it waste, and turns it upside down and scatters abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of interest, so with the giver of interest to him.
Have y'all noticed that if you gone to a couple of these stores and saw the sign on the door, if you're going to pay cash, you need to have exact change because there's a coin shortage? Man, I was stacking up all my little coins or whatever, right? It would I called it, it was my Disney World bottle. So every time I spend some money, I take change, put it in there, and then when we get ready to go on vacation, I figure, all right, we'll be stacking up some money in this little thing, and then I'll make a little something and let the kids roll up all the coins. It's one of them big water jugs. Hey, man, I said, no, we can't give away that money. Because that's the first, when they get ready, especially when they playing that money game, any big bills, which is what they tend to keep handing out now, and any kind of problem, they don't break bills. So if you ain't got change, you pull out a 50 and what you got cost $20, you just pay $50 for what cost 20, because they ain't getting you no change. And who would have ever thought that coins would become valuable? I had went to a store the other day. It said $20 and something. Gave them $21. She gave me that dollar back. I said, "Oh yeah, this serious right here." Oh, they give me my money back. No, we can't give any change. So don't worry about that. You close enough. And they gonna make your register come up short. Interesting. Go ahead.
Verse 3. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh has spoken his word. The earth mourns and fades away. The world languishes and fades away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
Right. The Euro Gentiles have gone everywhere and changed the order within the time of their rulership. The Greeks and Romans went into Israel and commanded that they stop keeping the Sabbath day. Commanded that they do more European-like things. They changed all those ordinances so that it would be comfortable for those people to join into their kingdom. Go ahead.
Therefore has the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burnt, and few men left.
Mm-hmm.
The new wine mourns, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets cease, the noise of them that rejoice ends, the joy of the harp cease.
You know, when you look at this thing about making the earth empty, that's something that you couldn't even imagine before this so-called sickness appeared. Man, now you get on the road and you can get the way you're going twice as fast. Traffic ain't what it used to be. And you can't even couldn't imagine anything like that before. It's interesting how one event can change so many things. And we're talking about one thing. Imagine when Yahweh starts allowing these things to start happening back to back to back. Go ahead.
They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in.
Mm-hmm. But look, you got people that won't even let their young family members in. Because they done made a name for them. They call them super spreaders. You got folk looking at their grandkids. No, you look like a super spreader. What the hell is a super spreader? They said, we can't prove you got nothing, but you be around too many people. So no, you can't come in here, you super spreader. That's deep. Go ahead.
There's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. When thus it shall be in the midst of them, when thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of Yahweh. They shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore glorify you, Yahweh, in the fires, even the name of Yahweh Elohim of Israel in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yes, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. Fear and the pit and the snare are upon you, O inhabitant of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass that he who flees from the noise of the fair shall fall into the pit, and he that comes up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake.
The foundations of the earth do shake. So where you gonna run away from that at? You gonna jump on a rocket ship? Go ahead.
The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard.
The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. That's some serious stuff right there. Because one change causes another change, which causes another change, which causes another change. Go ahead.
And shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall, and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together, as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison. And after many days shall they be visited.
Mm-hmm.
Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when Yahweh of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, and before his ancients gloriously.
Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when Yahweh of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, and before his ancients gloriously. You kind of have to wonder, what is Yahweh saying when he keeps saying these ancients? Because, before, people would talk about, the whole thing about being Israel and whatnot. But then you had a situation where there are converts that can righteously say that they are Israelites. But then you have the ancient Israelites, then he's talking about through bloodline and seed. So when people say that they are there, obviously you're not the ancient Israelites, because Yahweh hasn't done any of this stuff that he said he's going to do when they get back. So that's something that we need to take note of. That lets us know that what we're dealing with are proselytes or converts. Where we going now? Let's go to Revelation chapter 9. And even looking at the Limba tribe video, they have a Jewish man on there, and he openly says, "There's no need to, look for any lost tribes of Israel." He said, "But you know that the children of Israel were scattered from here." He said, "Yeah, I know, but there's no need to look for any lost tribes. We fine." Yet they invite Jewish people from all over the world to come and get dual citizenship in Israel. But when you say you're looking for the lost tribes of the house of Israel, the Jewish shut you down. They said, "Stop looking. You keep looking, you're going to find something." Go ahead.
And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven onto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit.
The sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke and the pit. First of all, verse 1, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven onto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. So we know if a star falls to the earth, it's going to destroy the earth. It's just if it's a regular star. Go ahead.
And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power.
Right. The very same things that Yahweh did when he destroyed Egypt then, he's going to do to this spiritual Egypt that have made herself after Egypt, taken all of the Egyptian monuments, taken all the Egyptian gods, even put the Egyptian god on the back of their money. That lets you know what's important to them. Meanwhile, while they're saying all of the things of the Confederacy, the Confederates, even though they treated everybody, the slaves bad, you knew the importance of a slave in the Confederate States. They had slaves on their money. They had images of cotton picking. They knew how they got their money. So when these people put an Egyptian god with an all-seeing eye of Horus on the back of their money, you have to ask yourself, wait a minute, this had to mean something to them. You don't just put something on that you're going to circulate every day if it don't mean nothing to you. No, it meant something. Go ahead.
Verse 4, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of Elohim in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he strikes a man.
The question is, as we learn more and more about Yahweh our Elohim, are we receiving the seal of our Elohim? Or we just show up and go through the motions? Are we receiving the seal of our Elohim? So that when these angels come and get ready to take care of this business, are they going to say, no, leave him alone? No, don't touch her. No, they straight. Does that destruction jump over you and get the person next to you? Or is that angel confused about whether or not you got a seal or not? Go ahead.
And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
Right. Now, this is when Yahweh remember now, as Yahweh was punishing Pharaoh, Pharaoh wanted to repent so that he can get that trouble off of him, and Yahweh wouldn't let him. And we know that when people are not accustomed to going through hardships, when they start going through hardships, they start wanting to kill themselves. So when you talk about people start going through hardship, try to blow their brains out, and they get back up saying, man, I just got a headache. Yeah, because we see half of it hanging on the other side. It ought to hurt. But you ain't going to be able to kill yourself. No, you're going to go through this. Huh? Go ahead.
And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto the battle. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle.
Mm-hmm.
And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months.
Right. So you have the situation of this military war equipment, but they have some war equipment that we are just not aware of. You know, I went to flipping through the channels one day, and they had an invisible tank on it. Man, it was the strangest thing ever. It just looked like when you're looking far off, how it kind of shimmers a little bit, but it's got all of these little things on it that multiply the things around it, so it looks just like everything near it. So this thing could be right up on you. By the time you realize, you're like, you smell oil. Yeah, there's a tank right there. That's some deep stuff, bro. Go ahead.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue has his name Apollyon. One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar which is before Yahweh, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men.
To slay the 3rd part of men. Now understand, now you got a whole lot of people that they are taught God is not angry with them. So the Sunday morning reply to this is, you're going to be raptured up, and you won't have to go through this. So they've told them that Revelation does not apply to Sunday morning. Now, when these people start going through this, they're going to be looking for Pastor Goodall. You understand? So they better hop in them planes and fly the hell on. They better do something. Because when them people start going through some of those things that they were told that they ain't never going to have to worry about, just make sure you make that check out to Long Dollar. When they start going through this stuff, oh, they're going to be looking for them. And y'all know, in the land of Google, you can find everybody's house. They ain't nobody hide. They can find you. Go ahead.
And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these 3 was the 3rd part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth, and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands.
You hear that? The rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, they still didn't repent of the things that they had done. Go ahead.
That they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murderers, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts.
Right. Every now and then, you know, especially with all of the shootings being publicized, every now and then one of the companies will come out and say that they apologize for slavery. They apologize for this. Apology and repenting ain't the same thing. See, apology, I just want to acknowledge it and let's move on. Repentance is, I realize I stole $500 million from you. So where you want me to pay that back at? Now we talking about repentance. Now we talking about repentance. Because see, now what you're talking about is righting some of the wrongs that you've done. Just telling me you sorry. Don't give me my money back. I'm sorry, man, I stole from you. Okay. I mean, I say I'm sorry. Okay. Why you still standing there? Because you need to be giving me back my damn stuff. Oh, I ain't got none of your stuff. I gave all that to my kids. It's in my inheritance. So then those people stand up, straight face. I've never owned slaves. Yeah, but you got the money that came from it, though. Yeah, your daddy left it to you. And so on and so on and so on. You're still holding all of the stuff from your thefts and your murders. That stuff is still there. Go ahead.
You know, you're speaking of repenting and the people, we see those actions more in the Gentiles towards us right now for what has been done, those who are becoming aware and trying to make a heartfelt effort to repent. But if the Jews are the people, I don't see nobody doing no repenting to them, and then that's why we get this anti-Semitic. Like, no, we need to get the attention back over here on us.
Exactly.
We see where people are trying to make it right with us.
I told you, if this keep going on, wait for the big Jewish problem that they gonna need to get the sympathy back. Because the whole thing is, you know, have sympathy for us. We've suffered. We've suffered. Where? We've suffered. I only have $5 million in my bank account. I'm suffering. What? We like, for real? Show me what that suffrage look like. I've never seen that kind of suffrage. Sounds wonderful. Sign me up. I'd like to suffer with just $5 million. Are you kidding me? We're suffering. I went to buy 2 Lamborghinis and I can only get one. I'm suffering. You suffering? Really? We call that we're doing all right. That's suffering to you? Let's go to Revelation chapter 14. But you know, that's the thing about having privilege. You don't really know that you have it because it's always been there. It's like the difference between the kids who have always grown up with certain things. They think it's normal to have those things. They don't consider that, you know, hey, there's people that don't have this. You know, that's just normal to them. You know, the people who have never had lights off in their house, they think it's just a magic fairy that came through and pay those light bills, and lights always gonna be on when you flip that switch. It's heartbreaking to them if they go and they flip the switch. We need to call an electrician. I flipped the switch and the light didn't come on. That's not the electrician's fault. They got a place called Georgia Power. And when you don't pay them, they cut off thine lights. They're not accustomed to living like that. So that's a travesty for them. There's certain things that Yahweh has to toughen us up with. Because the things that we're going to go through is going to be outside of all of the things that we've gotten accustomed to. And I know we all want as much money, as much things that we can have to try and provide for our children. But the higher we are up, the harder this gonna hurt. Have y'all been paying attention that they closed, and I know the people in Atlanta will be able to see this a lot more, when they closed that homeless shelter downtown. When you go downtown and go through any of the interchanges where you going, where 75 is turning, man, the tent cities that are up under there is heartbreaking. It's tents everywhere. See, we think we got a church camping trip, you know what I'm saying? So we think we be doing it, you know what I'm saying? We be glamping, we saying we going camping, hey, I ain't gonna even trip. They call our tent Buckhead, you know what I'm saying? Because, all the various amenities that's in my tent. Okay, there's these people every day. And I go by every day. I end up going by and end up with tears in my eyes before I get to work. Because that's their life, man. And I mean all up under the interchanges. I mean, it's every time I go, it's another tent. I said, man, what is going on? That prompted me to ask some questions, but it was because that shelter was closed down. That's why you would hear Mayor Bottom says we have to do something about our homeless situation. Because they all over that area down there. It was throwing me off that I was getting on the ramp to get on the highway, and there are people standing on the ramp asking for money. And I'm trying to figure out, how the hell you get here? How you up here on the highway? Oh, I didn't know, because each time you're coming from a different direction. So I'm seeing the person, and I'm trying to figure out how you get here. Now, when I came from the other direction, oh, they live there. That's how they got. Oh, man. But you got to think about something. When the rubber hit the road, they're going to be better equipped than us. Mm-hmm. That's going to be regular stuff for them. So everybody who walking around looking down at them people, them the very ones we're going to be like, excuse me, how you do that? How you put that little thing in the thing and do the thing? Right. It's like, oh no, this regular for us. We've been doing this. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 14 and verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins.
Understand, when we get in that water and get our baptism, everybody that get in that water become a spiritual virgin. Now you read, they were redeemed from the earth. Sounds like to me that all these 144,000 are people who have to die. Because as that body is then, understand what it says. In the resurrection, what did the Mashiach say? See, all this stuff starts to go hand in hand. Because see, they want to tell you that angels made it with women. Hold on. It says they were redeemed from the earth. So, what did Yahshua say? It says in the resurrection, they neither die, they neither marriage nor are given in marriage, for they are like the angels in heaven. Now, when it says these will not defile with women, for they are virgins. They got a new body. They were dead. They came back to life. They got a new body. They ain't seeking marriage. So people talking about, I want to be 144,000. What time you trying to die? What time you want to do this death thing? No, I just want whatever the hell he want for me. I want that. I don't want nothing too fancy for me. Because you got to look at what may be happening here. They were redeemed from the earth. How? That's the question. How? See, sometimes we try to stand in a line not knowing what's in that line. See, we'll come to a business. You ever done that? Go to a business and you trying to get something or whatever, and you found people standing in line, so you stand in the line too. But you ain't asked nobody what the hell that line was for. Man, you been in that line 30 minutes, you be like, oh, this is for the returns? God almighty, no. No, I just need to pay for this. Man, you been standing around the line for 30 minutes. Why? Because we seen somebody else standing in the line. And we don't want to, inconvenience anybody. So we ain't ask no questions. We just start standing in the line because there was a line there. Go ahead, bro.
These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits on
First fruits. Wait a minute. First fruits. How did Christ become first fruit? Okay? Dead, resurrection. So people asking for things. You sure you want that? Are you positive you want that? Go ahead, bro.
Being the first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb. Verse 5. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Elohim.
Now, what kind of mortal man you ever seen without fault before Elohim? Where he at? Let me see him. Where he at? In case you got fault. Okay, for y'all who can't see him, he did like this right there. Okay. I just want to, I need to translate that, Right. Right. I ain't never seen no man that ain't got fault. I ain't never seen that. But yet, people quick to talk about being 144,000. Do you understand what this is? Now, y'all ain't going to have to sign me up for that. I'm not getting in that line. Go ahead.
And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, and kindred, and tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Elohim, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven, and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters.
Mm-hmm.
And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the anger of her fornication.
Right. So then when you talk about the redemption of the children of Israel, you also are talking about the fall of this daughter of Babylon. And then you got to see the power that and the pressure that it's going to put on the so-called Israelis. When the daughter of Babylon is out of the way, it's about to get interesting. Go ahead.
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the anger of Elohim, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Right, and they trying to give us all kind of things. Who's that? Bill and Melinda said that we black people ought to be the first ones to get the vaccine, like they doing us a favor. No, I'm right after your kids, Melinda. Right after your kids. I'm right. I want same shot. Go right ahead. I'm make me eighth. You go out, I need you to go through your whole family. But even that wouldn't suffice, because they got stuff in there that's going to only react to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't even take the same thing. Understand, I tell people, even a situation of poisoning. When somebody is going to poison someone with cyanide, if they take small doses of cyanide, what it does is they build up immunity to it, right? So then they can have the same meal, that both of y'all were then poisoned, but it won't kill them because they built up immunity taking little bitty bits of cyanide along the way. But they ate the same poison meal as you. So when they come and test their food, they say, no, they was poisoned too. We don't know why they didn't die. Well, it can't be that person because they was poisoned too. That was them building up an immunity before they poisoned the other person. And now they got their own alibi because they can find poison in their food too. So I don't want the same shot they have. I don't want now shot. Go ahead.
And that's the thing about it is everything that they do, there's always some genetic testing, blood testing, because they just did that thing with the virus where they tested and say people who have a blood type, I think 45% more active to get that virus, where if you got O, you 35% less like. So these people are testing everything.
Oh, and not just that. That they said, you know, the cure may involve the blood of such and such. I don't want to. What? So I'm supposed to take somebody else's blood? Or some animal or whatever and that's supposed to be okay with everybody. But see, when the heathen does so much heathenistic activity, they think everybody ought to be okay with that. And every time we either donate blood or do something, man, they running so many tests. Mm-hmm. They running so many tests. Yahweh gonna have to do something about the rulership of the earth. Because if he don't, we all gonna be dead. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever received the mark of his name. Mm-hmm. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandment of Elohim and the faith of Yahshua. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Right, blessed are the dead which die in the Adonai from henceforth. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud. And upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle.
And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man. Go ahead.
And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time is come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped.
Yeah, and if you look at any of those things where they call, you know, the Grim Reaper, and you see that little sickle that looks like a curved axe, when he's reaping and pulling them fruit, especially dealing with the vine, the grapes, it looked like nothing but blood. So this angel's taking care of business. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in your sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of Elohim.
Right, and letting it be known that it is going to cause a lot of blood. Anytime you're dealing with gathering grapes and then put it in a wine press and push it, blood is going to flow. This is what he's talking about. But yet we're hearing God ain't angry with you. See, when you at least know somebody is angry, you have an opportunity, you know, to change. See, every last man in here that's got a woman, you know her angry face. When you see that face, you be like, okay, should I keep walking forward? You know what, it's time for me to do some more OT. I'm going back to work. You know what I'm saying? You got to make a decision. When you see this face, you know. But if somebody lie to you about the face, you have absolutely no warning that, hey, there's something happening here. So here it is, Yahweh is preparing angels to do all this reaping, to cause all this bloodshed. But to make sure that the money keep flowing, people are told God ain't angry. Go ahead.
Like you said with the warning, I think you were saying with your oldest son one time, there was a situation where you upset, and your wife said, I would leave him alone right now, away from him.
That's what happened when somebody know the face. That don't look good, baby. Children, go to the other room. Why? Your daddy looking psychotic. It's not a good space right now. I don't know what's going on. Let me talk to him. Yeah, let me work on that. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 20. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress.
Blood came out of the winepress. He's been talking about grapes, blood. Go ahead.
Even unto the horse's bridle, by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
Blood came out to the horse's bridle. That's what's in the horse's mouth. You know how much blood that is? That didn't even talk about how wide that is. That's how high it is. So when somebody then says, God is not angry with you, they are setting you up for utter destruction. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. That is what you call a smooth lie meant to destroy. But see, those kind of people will listen to, our sermons and classes and say, I don't see how y'all could listen to that stuff. There's no positivity in there. I don't see how you can just listen to that. It's just negative. And when they see that angel with that sickle, now you're finna see negative. You about to see negative now. And ain't nothing worse than showing up to a fight and you ain't got no weaponry. Everybody, they got sticks and bats and guns, and they got everything they can find. And you showed up with roses. What? Wee poo poo? Oh no, you poo poo. You about to see? You got the wrong. You got flowers. We about to go to war. You thought this was a love fest. Yeah, you really didn't. You didn't read the manual. See, you didn't understand what was about to happen. Matthew chapter 24, and let's start at verse 29.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Now this is Yahshua. So if somebody is saying that, hey, y'all dealing with a whole bunch of Old Testament stuff, tell Yahshua. Because Yahshua said that, and this is New Testament. So that means from that time, it still hadn't happened and has not happened yet. So if anybody want to discount all the things that we read in the Old Testament, let's see if they can discount Yahshua's words. Gainsay him. Go ahead.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
Right. And let me tell you something. Most people are not even aware of what the sound of the trumpet is supposed to do. This is something that we do every Shabbat. We know that it is the shofar that is blown that causes us to gather. This is something that the other people that's learning something else, they don't even know anything about that. Go ahead.
Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So likewise you, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled.
The generation in which the signs start to appear. not the generation that was there when he said this. When you see the signs, then know, oh, now these things are about to speed up. These things are going to start happening back to back, because that is the generation in which all of those things are going to be fulfilled. Go ahead.
Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knows no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Right. So no matter what you say to some people, they are not going to be able to adhere to this word. You can show them this or show them that. They're going to still be about whatever they're going to be about until that day. And then that day, then everybody cries for mercy. While we trying to prepare, they partying. But them going to be the same ones that show up and ask for your oil. Now, you going to be crazy enough to get them their oil that you done stored up? Go ahead.
And knew not until the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your Adonai does come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched, and would not have suffered his house to be broken up.
Right. If the good man of the house had known, he said, hey man, they're gonna break in your house at Tuesday on Tuesday when you go to work. I heard him talking about it. That dude ain't going to work Tuesday. He might be sitting in the darkest corner. Soon as he hear him come through that door. But that's what happened when you know. He said, it's right here. I'm purposely not letting you know, because I want to see who real and who not. Go ahead.
Therefore be you also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man comes.
So all them who got their little timetables, they got their Texas Instrument, they said, look, it ought to be this year right here. No, and it's going to be this month. Well, no, it's going to be this year and that month. Go right ahead. You ain't going to be able to figure it out because he don't want you to figure it out. Because see, some people, once they look 2 or 3 times, it don't happen, they say, all right, man, just leave that alone. Boom, that's what he waiting for. He said, yeah, they would never enter this anyway. Go ahead.
Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master has made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his master, when he comes, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. But and if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my master delays his coming.
My master delays his coming. We done already heard this a couple of times, and he didn't show up. I didn't see no destruction, so let's go on back to the party. He ain't coming tonight. Go ahead.
And shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken. The master of that servant shall come in a day when he looks not for him, and in an hour that he's not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites.
Appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. The ones who say all the nice things about Yahweh. But when it come down to making any changes, they ain't going to do none of that. When it come time to dealing with what thus says Yahweh in the word, they ain't going to deal with none of that. As it is written, these are those that get the word. But then when something comes, they are offended. Yahweh take care of their business. Go ahead.
There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
All right. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30. Isaiah chapter 30, and let's start that at verse 18.
And therefore will Yahweh wait, that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore will he be exalted, that he may have mercy upon you. For Yahweh is a Elohim of judgment. Blessed are all they that wait for him. For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. You shall weep no more. He will be very gracious unto you at the voice of your cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer you. And though the Adonai give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not your teachers be removed into a corner any more, but your eyes shall see your teachers, and your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, This is the way, walk you in it, when you turn to the right hand and when you turn to the left. You shall defile also the covering of your graven images of silver and the ornament of your molten images of gold. You shall cast them away as a minstrel's cloth. You shall say unto it, Get you hence. Then shall he give the rain of your seed, that you shall sow the ground withal, and bread of the increase of the earth, and it shall be fat and plenteous. In that day shall your cattle feed in large pastures.
And we really don't see the power in those things. You have to consider, our people were brought here, purchased to do the manual labor here, to grow the crops and build the buildings and all of these things. Now we have gotten so far away from any kind of planting or any of those things, but we were the ones that built and did all of those things. So now we've gotten so removed from that we don't really see the power in being able to sustain yourself off your own land. We got to go to somebody else and ask them for bread. We got to ask somebody else for meat. You got to go buy this. You got to go buy that. You go down to what used to be in the country, because the country is changing now. And you find people that had everything they needed right there. That ain't even the case no more. We're getting farther and farther away from that. There used to be little small stores where you can go get, fresh produce. Man, Walmart run them people out of business. So then we end up depending on other people. This is real power. Y'all would say, I'm gonna provide everything out of your own land. You want something, go down that hill and get it. You want some of this, go outside the house and go pick it. Then what can another nation come and threaten you with? Your stuff right there in the yard. Go ahead.
Verse 24. The oxen likewise and the young asses that air the ground shall eat clean provender, which has been winnowed with the shovel and with the fan. And there shall be upon every high mountain and upon every high hill rivers and streams of waters in the day of the great slaughter, when the towers fall. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun.
Now wait a minute. It been turning them dark here the whole time. Now the script is getting flipped. Go ahead.
And the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, as the light of 7 days.
The light of the sun shall be sevenfold. So it's 7 days. It's supposed to be 95 today. Now I need y'all to multiply that times 7. Go ahead.
In the day that Yahweh binds up the breach of his people and heals the stroke of their wounds.
So I noticed that wherever these creepy clouds are, it is automatically cooler in that area. And you have to wonder, is this a thing of Yahweh, or is this a thing of man that he's trying to cool the earth out? Which is what they said the whole thing about cloud seeding was about, causing the rain on the earth to try to turn back global warming. So is this thing starting to warm up? And now they're making the creepy clouds to try to keep cooling off the earth. My elder used to say that Russia was fighting with a weapon, that they were shooting beams at that caldera to heat it up so they could make it erupt. That way when it erupts, it would be like an accident. But if they can shoot beams at stuff and heat it up, you have to wonder, is that the purpose of these, humongous cloud formations, to make an attempt at blocking that sun to try to cool off the earth? So you have to wonder if Yahweh has already started. With that being said, brother, I want you to read some of these this thing from this article here. And we have gone over some of this before, or I've mentioned some of it before. But just in line with understanding that he's going to make the sun 7 times hotter, we have to consider these things right here. Go ahead.
Israel's skin cancer rate, second highest in the world.
Now, that has now dropped, but we're going to explain exactly how it dropped. Go ahead.
Israel used to be one of the countries with the highest rates of skin cancer in the world, according to the ICA. Up-to-date data shows that Israel has dropped from ranking 3rd in cases of skin cancer. Israel now ranks 13th place for men and 20th place for women.
Right. So they went from number 3 to 13th. All right, in skin cancer. So to understand a little bit more about that, let's read the later article. This was published in 2003. So go ahead with that.
The skin cancer rate in Israel is among the highest in the world. The Israel Cancer Association reported yesterday, at the end of 2000, there were 3,631 skin cancer patients in Israel, and around 200 die every year from the disease.
Right. And see, what we keep doing is receiving these vaccines, which are breaking down our melanin, which is breaking down other things in our immune system, so that we become susceptible to other events. So that when they come through with mysterious things, that it keeps bothering certain people. Yeah, because you put it in there. Go ahead.
The Skin Cancer Association held a news conference marking Skin Cancer Awareness Week beginning next Sunday. During the week, the association and the health ministry, health maintenance organizations, and hospitals will do free examinations for skin cancer in 300 outlets. Israel is second after Australia for occurrence of malignant melanoma, according to the health ministry report covering 1999 to 2000. There are 14.8 cases of malignant melanoma in Israel per 100,000 men and 14.4 cases per 100,000 women. This is less than half the rate in Australia, but higher than in North America, double the rate in the European Union, and up to 14 times higher than on all other continents.
Right, because when you somewhere where you ain't got no business being, you have placed yourself in an environment that you were not born for. If you was born for it, it wouldn't be killing you to be there. Go ahead.
Dr. Micah Barhana, director of the Health Ministry's Cancer Registration Unit, says the high rate of skin cancer in Israel is because of the large number of people from Europe and North America.
Just sit there for a minute. I need that to marinate. Do 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 do. Mana mana. Do 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 do. Mana mana. Do 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 do. Okay, bro.
Whose fair skin is vulnerable to the desert climate here.
Say it ain't so, bro. Say it ain't so. Go ahead.
Risk is increased by the dress fashions that allow more of the body and skin to be exposed to the sun than is customary in neighboring countries.
So Horse people get more cancer. I'm just saying. That's what the doctor said. Go ahead.
He said genetics can explain only about 10% of skin cancers, and even then, mainly among Ashkenazis.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a Jewish magazine. This is a Jewish newspaper. Esaac ben Israel didn't write this. So send all complaints there. Go ahead.
The high cancer rates in the 90s are a result of careless and excessive exposure to the sun in the 70s and 80s. He said the growing awareness of the disease and of ways to avoid it, both by doctors and the public, may reduce the skin cancer rate in Israel from 2010. Dr. Barhana said 990 new patients were diagnosed in 2002, a similar figure to 1999 through 2000. From 1999, a clear trend of rising skin cancer rates was noted among men and women here and in many other countries.
Right. Now, if this is this from 2003, now the heat is being turned up. All right? Yahweh is making the heat turn up. So then people got to find a way to block some of these things or to figure out what they're going to do about it. Go ahead.
So the fact that they stopped using or stopped calling themselves Ashkenazi Jews, the sun didn't stop giving them cancer because the sun still know who they are.
Exactly.
Okay. The health ministry reports the largest group of skin cancer patients among people of European and North American origin.
I need you to sit there for a second. Sit there for a second. They are so-called Jews, but they are of European descent. Does anybody find a problem with that? So then when you have this thing thrown at this brother saying, would you like to come to an Auschwitz death camp? Oh, you mean in Europe? That's where Auschwitz at, right? And that's in Europe? Oh, you want to take me back to your true homeland? Sure, I go to your true homeland. See, he just didn't know how to reply. Go ahead.
400 new patients in 2000. Then among those born in Israel, 400 new patients. People of African origin, 40 cases. Of Asian origin, 25%, and Arabs, 15 cases.
All right. Now, with that being said, now let's go to Songs of Solomon, chapter 1. Songs of Solomon, chapter 1. And let's read verses 5 and 6.
I am black, but comely.
I'm black but beautiful. Now see, I done heard who's that? David Jeremiah, PhD. He changed that to tan. He said, I'm tan but comely. Tan? My book said black. That's a PhD lie right there. Go ahead.
I am black, but comely.
I'm black but comely. Now watch how I got black. Go ahead.
O you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Look not upon me, because I am black.
Say it again. Go ahead.
Look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun has looked upon me.
The sun has looked upon me. So you stay in the sun longer, you gonna get blacker. That happened to black people. Go ahead. See, because this is an Israelite talking because read.
My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyard.
They made me the keeper of the vineyard. So check this out. Check this out. They said the Israeli rates of skin cancer have gone down. You know why? Because they took other people and put them in the sun in the heat of the day. There are reports that say, hey, your times that you are in the sun, the greatest heat, that affects things. So they have immigrants that are there to do certain parts of the work. You ever ask yourself, every time all of this stuff is happening with the Palestinians, and they got this wall there, why don't they just keep all the Palestinians out of Israel then? Why do they keep coming over? Well, they have to come over and go to work. Somebody got to be able to be in that sun longer than the people of straight European descent. So they have to be some darker, melanated people to be able to deal with that. So you let a few of the African people come in. You let them work so they can be off in the sun. And you don't come out into the later parts of the day. That's how you make your numbers go down. You put somebody else and make them work in the vineyard. So they just get blacker. They don't get deader. Awesome plan, ain't it? Right. Go ahead, bro.
But mine own vineyard have I not kept.
All right. Now let's go to Revelation chapter 16. Awesome plan. You have people in Israel that have work visas only. They keep tabs on them so hard, they will never be able to prosper. They will never be able to do anything to further themselves. They can work and go back to the place where they sleep. Now, this is a people who claim racism for everybody else. And I'm telling you, the biggest amount of racism happens in this land of Israel. The ones who will claim anti-Semitism on everybody have the biggest amounts of racism that you ever ran into. Revelation chapter 16. And let's start at verse 4.
And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, You are righteous, O Adonai, which art, and was, and shall be, because you have judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and you have given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Adonai Elohim Almighty, true and righteous are your judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and the power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. Verse 8, and the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire.
To scorch men with fire. So then we got the same things go hand in hand. I'm going to cause the heat of the sun to be 7 times hotter. Now you have this situation that we're finding in another book. You know, let there be 2 or more witnesses. That power was given unto the sun to scorch men with fire. Go ahead.
And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of Elohim, which has power over these plagues. And they repented not to give him glory.
Once again, and you find the same things. They will not repent, no matter what happens unto them. Go ahead.
And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain.
Same thing we find in Egypt. Same thing that happened before. Yahweh gonna do those same things again. You got darkness, you got heat. You have some of these same plagues. Go ahead.
And blasphemed the Elohim of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come up out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles.
So the spirits of devils working miracles. Now, you know, we got some people that really love to see some miracles. And the devil's got some on the way. Oh, this is going to get a lot of our people. This is going to get a lot of our people. Go ahead.
Which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Elohim Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven. from the throne, saying, It is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great.
Right. So then we have these same things about the earth reeling to and fro like a drunkard, and now we have this great quake. And the only way for somebody to try and say that they're not going to be a part of this is to by saying hey, you're just going to be raptured up, and you won't come back down until these things are over. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60.
It says, chapter 16, verse 14. The sons also of them that afflicted you shall come bending unto you, and all they that despise you shall bow themselves down at the soles of your feet, and they shall call you the city of Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel.
This is what the inhabitants of the earth are fighting against. The last thing they want to do is to have to acknowledge who we are as a people. And it is a horribly kept secret, because a lot of those people know exactly who we are. They know exactly who they have magnified themselves against. And they're hoping that they can keep these things from happening. But they're going to have to acknowledge what was done. And we're going to have to acknowledge that none of it would have been possible if we had followed Yahweh our Elohim. There's a lot of acknowledgement that has to happen on both sides. Go ahead.
It's like we were talking about earlier, the Jewish say that they're that one tribe, and you said the Europeans say they're the other 11 tribes, and nobody says anything about it, no uproar. But the minute we say we're Israel,
You got it.
blasphemy, treason,
Exactly.
it's a problem.
And we haven't figured out, the plan. Like, isn't that kind of interesting that upsets you that much, that we say that we're Israel? And you can find televangelists all day long saying that Europe is beta Israel. And why wouldn't they say that? They the ones that put the other people in the land. So, of course they have, a dog in that fight. But it is rather amazing, brother, that all we have to do is say we're Israel and they get upset. And you'll find a lot of these videos on the internet that'll start trying to go against Deuteronomy 28. But if you notice, they'll only go add a couple of verses. They won't break Deuteronomy 28 and start going down, because just like they offered Deshaun Jackson, and his name, the ball player, he said, "I'll come and show you an Auschwitz death camp." All right, well, let's open up Revelation, or let's open up Deuteronomy first. Then we can go into Leviticus as well. Let's open it up and let's see how many of those things was written that happened to you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the antebellum South, and I'm going to open up this book, and we're going to have that same discussion. You ready? You first. That discussion would have been over with. Because I want you to show me in your death camp where you married somebody, but they was given to somebody else. I want you to show me in your death camp where you had a yoke of iron on your neck and made to plow the ground like an animal. I want you to show me that in your death camp, because I've heard any of these stories from any of your stories of recollection. So yeah, I'll take that trip. But my turn after that. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Whereas you have been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through you, I'll make you an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations.
Right. It's amazing when people pretend that they are hated. Man, you ain't seen nobody getting snatching no Jewish dude out the car, snatching his yarmulke off his head and shooting him in the middle of the street? You ain't never seen that. But they want us to believe that they are hated all over the earth. You ever heard them talking? We are hated all over the earth. What part of the earth are you hated at? Because I hadn't seen that. I don't see that happening to you. I see it happening to us everywhere. I don't see that happening to you. So where you hated at? Go ahead.
Man, we can continue. Show me where you became a proverb and a byword.
Right.
Y'all are choosing to drop Ashkenazi from your name.
Right. Because it's starting to come up. Because you can go through the lineage of the Gentiles and find Ashkenaz.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it don't take a mental genius to figure out, excuse me. Now, it says here that Ashkenaz is from Japheth, who was a Gentile. But you said that people are being anti-Shemitic. Explain to me, I'm showing y'all how to fight. Explain to me how an Ashkenazi can say that somebody's being anti-Shemitic when according to his lineage, he is a Gentile himself. Tell me more. All you do is present it in the form of a question. Explain that to me. How can I be anti-Shemitic to somebody whose lineage says that you are not Shem? That means I must be like really racist if I can be anti-Shemitic to a person who's not Shemitic. I am horrible. Because I mean, I'm doing some imaginary hate. Like my hate ain't even real. Because like, you're not real. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is amazing how I'm able to accomplish this. See? Go ahead.
Verse 16. You shall also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breast of kings.
Now, this is happening to true Israel at the point of them being restored. They're already being given weapons. America has a contract. Anybody in the so-called Middle East that gets a weapon, America must give Israel a comparable or better weapon. So anybody that says, hey, we got a nuclear weapon, Israel like, okay, well, where our three at? They just got some bazookas over there. What time you shipping those bazookas over here? Who would even sign an agreement with somebody like that? The kind of agreements that America has signed, whatever. Do you understand what kind of financial bind that puts you in? That you have vowed that whatever these people get, I'm going to give you. Imagine going home and telling your wife that. All right, those are the Joneses. Now, whatever the Joneses get, I'm going to give you. Plan on your wife being at their door. You should get that Gucci bag, baby. You should get that. We like that. What? Because she already know. Once she get it, I'm getting it. So now, when she talk to Joneses into getting that Gucci bag, she gonna make sure you have that Gucci bag on Tuesday. My husband get off at 5. Right, I need to let him see it. So you see it? You see it going in there? All right, so what time we going to pick up my bag? That's the agreement you made. Now here it is. You got people here that can't do this, can't receive this. But this is the kind of money that's being dumped in Israel. Anything they can point at, they get it. And it was already rich. But feel sympathy for me at the same time. Because I'm going through so much. My kid got this little measly trust fund. It ain't but like 26 million in there. I feel horrid. Right. Sure you do. Go ahead, bro.
No, we know you just mentioned about the amount of money that America gives unto Israel.
Uh-huh.
But we know, according to scripture, when Yahweh, we are in the land, that there's a lot of nations that's supposed to have offerings to come up and take and keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
Right.
You know, so it shows you that we're not there.
Right. You know, they're not supposed to be receiving any of this money yet. They're receiving money hand over, I mean, gobs of money. How are you still crying foul with all of this money that you're receiving? Yet, say something about reparations and watch people act a plumb fool. Right. Go ahead, bro.
And you shall know that I, Yahweh, am your Savior and your Redeemer, the mighty one of Yaakov. For brass, I will bring gold, and for iron, I will bring silver, and for wood, brass, and for stones, iron. I will also make your officers peace, and your exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in your land, wasting nor destruction within your borders, but you shall call your walls salvation, and your gates praise. The sun shall be no more your light by day.
The sun shall no more be your light by day. So after he's done all of these things with the sun and moon, he's going to take their power back to what it was beforehand. He said, let there be light, and there was light. He was the light. Knowing that he's not going to be there constantly with the children of Israel, he provided a substitute light. Once there's no need for the substitute light because we are in his presence, now we get the real light back. Go ahead.
Neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto you, but Yahweh shall be unto you an everlasting light, and your Elohim your glory. Your sun shall no more go down, neither shall your moon withdraw itself, for Yahweh shall be your everlasting light, and the days of your mourning shall be ended. Your people also shall be all righteous.
Stop. Your people shall all be righteous. We know we ain't there. And we know Israel sure ain't there. Go ahead.
They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh, will hasten it in his time.
All right. That's all that we're going to do for today. Let us begin to, pay attention to the creation that Yahweh has made. Sometimes we spend so much time on our devices and things of that nature that we never get to pay honor and respect unto Yahweh for this great creation that he made and placed us on. But to get our attention, a lot of things are going to be presented in Yahweh's earth, and let us use those things as something that will lead us back to dealing wholeheartedly in the covenant that was given unto us. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.